So in section 6.5, we're going to spend a second day where we're solving trinomials, but this time we're going to solve them when neither side is equal to 0. In the first section, or the first part of this, we had equals 0 for one side. And then this little paragraph explains we can't use the zero product property if we don't have this equal to 0. So to make this equal 0, we're just going to add or subtract this number to the other side depending on what we have. So in example 1, we have the minus 3, so the opposite of that is to add 3 to both sides. And I'm adding it just to the number because those are the like terms. So we're going to be left with 1x squared plus 14x, and then 45 plus 3 would be 48. So then we can solve our diamond problem like normal. We're going to multiply the first number times the last number. We're factoring just like we did in the previous section, and we'll get 48. And the bottom number is 14. So then we're thinking of two numbers that multiply to 48 but add up to 14, which would be 6 and 8. So that's how we can break up our trinomial and turn this into a grouping problem. So I can write this as 1x squared plus 6x plus 8x plus 48 equals 0. And in my grouping, the biggest number that goes into 1 and 6 is 1, and I can take out the x. And I can do 1 divided by 1 to get 1. X squared divided by x is x. In the second part here, 6 divided by 1 is 6, and those two x's cancel out. I'm going to bring down the plus sign, and then for group 2, we're looking at the biggest number that goes into 8 and 48, which is 8. And so we'll divide both of those by 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1 with the x. 48 divided by 8 is 6. So we got the same thing in our parentheses, so we know we've done that right. So my final setup here will be 1x plus 6 times 1x plus 8 equals 0. So I'm going to come over here and solve my equal 0 parts. I'm going to write x plus 6 equals 0. Remember, x and 1x are the same thing. And x plus 8 equals 0. So I'll subtract 6 on both sides and get x equals -6 as one of my answers. And then subtract 8 on both sides and get x equals -8 as my second answer. So that's kind of the setup here. Let's do a couple more examples just to make sure we really get how we're moving over, and then we're just factoring like normal. So in example 2, this time we're using the variable k, so nothing changes even though the letter is different, and we have a -6 over here. So to get rid of a -6, we're going to add 6. And we'll be left with 1k squared minus 14k, and then 42 plus 8 is 48. So we're actually using very similar numbers to what we just did in example 1. This time though, when we do the diamond problem, 1 times 48 is still 48, but that middle number is now -14. So 6 and 8 will get me to 48, but I need them both to be negative if they're gonna add up to -14. So that's really the only difference between examples 1 and 2. So I'm going to write this out. 1k squared minus 6k minus 8k plus 48 equals 0. So it's going to be set up a lot similarly to what we just did. So that should be a k right there. We're going to divide both sides by 1k. The only difference being from example 1 is now we've got a minus sign. And same thing here in group 2. The biggest number that goes into 8 and 48 is 8, but this minus sign here means I'm going to divide by -8. So -8 divided by -8 is 1 with the k. 48 divided by -8 is -6. So our two parentheses are 1k minus 6 and 1k minus 8. So to solve these, I'm going to write k minus 6 equals 0. And k minus 8 equals 0. Well, to get rid of a -6, let's add 6. And we'll get k equals 6. And then to get rid of the -8, we add 8. And we get k equals +8. All right, let's do one last one. This time we're dealing with the -4. So we're going to add 4 to both sides. And we'll have 1a squared plus 2a. And this time, -28 plus 4 is -24. So in my diamond problem, 1 times negative 24 is negative 24, and the middle number is 2. So we have to figure out two numbers that multiply to negative 24, but add up to 2. And that's 6 times negative 4. So we can write this out as 1a squared plus 6a minus 4a minus 24 equals 0. So in group 1, the biggest number that goes into 1 and 6 is 1. Between a squared and a, that's a. 1 divided by 1 is 1. A squared divided by a is a. 6 divided by 1 is 6. A's cancel out. There is a minus sign we have to bring down, and the biggest number that goes into 4 and 24 is 4. So when I divide both of these by negative 4, I'm going to get 1a plus 6, just like we did over here. So my two sets of parentheses are 1a plus 6 and 1a minus 4. And I've got plenty of room down here this time. So I'm going to write a plus 6 equals 0 and a minus 4 equals 0. Well, to get rid of a minus 6, we subtract it. So a equals negative 6 is one of the answers. And to get rid of a plus 4, or a minus 4, we're going to add 4, and we'll get a equals positive 4. So that's how we solve if we don't have an equals 0. Remember, move that number over first.